what's up, y'all? This is your girl, Uniquely Nye. Welcome to the very first episode of The Nye Perspective. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I will put a parental guidance on this. Parents, as much as I love the kids, you might want to listen to the content before you let your child under 16 listen. Sometimes we're going to talk about some real serious stuff, and you may not want your child knowing about that at this point. So, yeah, be on that.
Parental advisory
is advised. Alright, so, with that being said, let's introduce our wonderful panel for this week. Go ahead, you know her from the pinboard. Go ahead and give it up for your girl, Princess Nettles.
Hello. It's me. Oh, my needles, yo. What's good? I'm here. Let's get stinging. We all about it.
Alright, up next, you know, she a local phenomenon. Let's give it up for my cousin, the one and only Miss B. Yache.
Yo.
You know when you say a local phenomenon, I thought you was gonna have something dope coming right after that. That's a local phenomenon. All right, here go this motherfucker.
I mean, you know, I was coming out the dome.
What's up?
All right, so you already heard the deep voice. So let's go ahead and give it up for my brother, DC Amirio.
Yeah. It's the 38 Amirio Colbert, known as DC Amirio. Yeah, it's all love, family in the building, and I love y'all.
Good show.
All right, so the first topic is going to be Black Lives Matters. And I know folks is tired of talking about it, but I'm tired of seeing it on the news. How about that?
Bad.
I'm tired of us dying.
Bad.
Oh my God. So with that being said, let's go around the room and do a temperature check. With all that's happened in the last week, how is folks feeling?
Okay, so personally, over in the needle bush, I've been stewing on some ideas. I've been thinking about, like, why does it even need to be two separate parties for All Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter? It should be the All People Matter movement. It shouldn't matter the color, sex, gender. If they are a person, they should have the right to people's rights, correct? We are people. So I see a problem that there even needs to be color or sexuality involved. I'm so happy that there's been guaranteed rights for people who are transgender, but didn't they say all people have the rights? These basic human rights. It goes back, are they a person? We're not talking about a cow here. We're talking about a person. Do they have a heart? Do they have the same bones, lungs, organs, and skull as us? Yes. So what's the problem? Oh, well, they look shady. And you look pale, but I don't talk about your skin complexion. What you up in here for? What you like, oh, well, we don't want black people. Well, okay, pay for my house, my plane ticket, my food, my lifestyle in Africa. Then say you don't want me here. I want you to come up to me with a plane ticket, a property document, and my luggage packed and say, go back to Africa. And I'll say gladly, I'll go. But Unless you got a plane ticket, because you brought me here, so you can take me back if you don't like that I'm here. This is your fault. This is the consequences of your actions. Deal with it. Everyone wanted to say, oh, Lincoln freed the slaves. No, let's talk about the black codes. The codes that were supposed to help us. And the whole free people movement that was supposed to help us, that hindered us, hurt us, and routinely got us beaten, killed, put into prison. And black prisoners were then sold to the railroad company. Let's talk about how slavery got abolished, but not really. Let's talk about how we still are dealing with slavery. How are there entire ghettos, people who can't afford anything but to live if this country is equal, if slavery is gone? Why is there a clear division of classes? What's up? What's up? Because everybody want to be silent when you bring it up. Everybody want to be silent when you bring it up. Everybody say they about it, but if you look at it, 60% of us, if 60% of us voted to abolish the government, we could. But nobody about it. Everybody talk and say they with us, but they ain't standing with us.
Bro, it's a hell of a check-in.
I'm sorry, that's just how I feel about it. It's never too much, because it's, when is it enough? We can say, oh, 9/11 was such a big thing. What about the 400 years of slavery? Oh, forget that. I'm done.
I agree.
100%. She hit the nail in the coffin right there, man. I'm like speechless. I was like, man, all right, wrap it up. We done.
You know, that was real tight. You know, I'm gonna come from I come from a few perspectives. One is I ain't going the fuck nowhere. You are, I would say you better than I am, because you more open than I am. I wish a motherfucker would come up with a ticket, a plane ticket, a train ticket, a motherfucking ferry ticket, and some money for shit, and be like, go back to where you came from. First of all, I'm taking that ticket and I'm cashing it in to go to the Bahamas. Second of all, I'm slapping the shit. I'm slapping the dog shit. I'm backhanding the shit out of anybody who is bold enough to do that shit. Now, I want to
Got
be
a little
like,
Bernie Mac.
I want to be on that same page where I can say that all people matter. I want to say that the truth of the matter is all black people matter, and that's where we're at. Because until this day, and this is because the subject is BLM, right? All black people matter, and fucking all people of color who are being held at the fucking border unjustly and inhumanely fucking matter. That's who the fuck matters to me at this moment in my life. And I want to get to a point where I can say that all people matter, but I can't say all people matter until all people matter, or until all people don't fucking matter. So whichever one of those occurs, if all of a sudden everybody starts being treated exactly the motherfucking same, and everybody starts dying at the exact fucking same rates as black people, then I'll be like, all people matter. But until that happens, fuck off. Black lives matter, and black lives matter because it shows us time and time again that we don't actually matter to many people, including some fucking black people. I can get real fucking in on that. And we can we make that another topic?
Oh no! That's in this conversation. We just doing the check-in right now.
Oh, y'all,
the temperature check.
Well,
I'm ready to go in, y'all.
Scuba diving.
man, after all those check-ins, I really don't have nothing but to say each one of them have their right point of view on the perspective of Black Lives Matter. I love all people, but I'm a black man. I feel like I get spotted as soon as the cops see me. I'm a threat. And me being a black man,
How tall are you?
I'm like 6'7", 6'6". You know, y'all do the math, all right?
You know.
I'm a gentle giant out here. Everybody who know me, I'm a gentle giant. But when people threaten my life and for me just existing, I kind of wonder to myself, like, was we all born by the same God? I'm real spiritual, by the way. I'm not religious or anything like that. I do believe in God. For all people that believe in God, don't believe in God, believe in yourself. I love it because we all got that same energy. We all have our free will. We all have a brilliant mindset to conquer in life and success, no matter what it is. I see a lot of power in all race, no matter what color, because I like the whole damn rainbow. And I'm big and tall. I wish a nigga would say something about me liking the rainbow, okay? You know, let me get a scenery out of the thing, you know? Stop my beautiful day. And it's like, I love all people, but I have to stand with my people, because look at the track record of what black people in America and every minority of color had to deal with. So it's a real big topic that really turns people's point of view in so many different ways, where you're ready to kill, you're ready to start a whole revolution and be at people's front door. All these darn petitions, politics, you name it. It's so much. The fight is real. And I'm all about the fight, because that's what makes me live today, because we keep on fighting on as people. No matter what, we keep on fighting on. That's all we have is our hope, our dreams, what we believe in. If we don't believe in that, if we don't, then we're nothing to ourselves. We're trying to exist with ourselves, because so many times people said we ain't shit. And that's the real shit. Let me exist. Let me walk down the street with my kids. Let me just enjoy a beautiful day without you feeling like my skin have to matter right now. You know, we so past skin. We all got skin. Do you look at skin when you looking at a porno? I'm sorry to get X-rated and all like that.
I'm going to say yes, I do.
And I'm just saying,
I like mine.
That's what people worried about.
Not
Who
really.
people having sex with and all that, and judgmental. We all want to have this self-control, and they gave me the 2-minute mark and said wrap it up.
How you feel about that?
Yeah, it's like, you know, I'm a fighter.
We haven't even got to that
so
much
I don't
yet.
really have no nice words to say about it, but my people keep on fighting on, and we're gonna let people know that we matter. We stand out here, we loud, we proud of who we are, and we proud of you too if you act right. A lot of people don't, but it's all love. I love each and every human being in the world.
All right, so extended check-ins. So I'm gonna start the does Black Lives Really Matter? And I'm gonna say this. The truth of the matter is, if we look at the world, no.
Boom.
Black lives actually don't matter. Because quite as it's kept, we don't matter to each other. And until Black lives matter to each other, we tell other people how to treat us. And yes, I know we are set up to fail. I know this. We are set up to fail. But just because someone sets you up to fail, don't mean you have to fall for the setup. Because at the end of the day, what they can't take from us is our choices. So,
something to say on that. Oh, I got something to say on that, right? Because I agree. What they can't take from us are our choices, right? Who do we find out who our choices are from?
The media, outside, our families,
okay,
our community,
our friends.
Okay, cool. So let's start with I'll say our generation. I mean your generation. I was technically in the same generation,
right?
Technically, because they done switched some things up,
right?
But let's say we start with our generation. If our decisions, that if we find out we can decide between A and B from the media, we can decide from A and B from our friends. We learn we can decide from A and B from our family. We learn we can decide from A and B from whoever's in our immediate environment, right? So it's either whoever's in our immediate environment or the media. Okay. So my understanding is the media is going to tell you that your choices are whatever they want you to choose between. Right? That's my belief. My other belief is that our families and our friends and whoever's in our circles can only tell you to choose from what they know or they don't know. When you start looking at Black people, and I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I can speak about me and I can speak about my family. What the fuck do we know? What are our decisions? What I knew to be true is that I should graduate from high school and I should go to college. But why? What did I get from college besides some debts that I'm still not done paying? Right? I went to college to be put in a situation that I still had to work constantly, right? In order to be able to afford the rest of my dorm fees. So that I can do work for somebody else who says I need a college degree to do what I already know how to do. And so when we say that, Black lives don't matter to other Black people, I definitely believe that's true in a lot of situations. And I feel like we need an entire show based on that. And I also feel like, with that being said, I also feel like we have a choice. However, oftentimes our choices are limited by who is in our immediate circle, right? Like, I didn't realize I grew up in the hood until I went to college. I knew what Oakland was. Oakland is home, right? However, I did not know the way that I had to behave, the way that I had to watch my back, the way I had to do a bunch of things were also situational, right? So Black lives matter, and they matter in a plethora of ways, and we have to do better at teaching ourselves and teaching our children and teaching our nieces and teaching our nephews that Black lives matter, because you're right, we teach people how to treat us, and even if we don't believe it, we should fake it for the next generation. We should fake it for our siblings. We should fake it for my cousins or whoever it may be, because I fake the hell out of this shit on the regular.
Right, and I don't disagree with you. If I look back at the Black Panthers, how they started off building up the community. But see, we've gotten away from supporting ourselves.
Yes.
We've gotten away from looking out for, we switched, we did like the white folks. we stopped thinking about the whole for the part. We started thinking individually. And once we lost that community, you see it. There was a transition in the people you see on the street corner. When I was a little kid, the people on the street corner wouldn't dare cuss in front of old ladies. They wouldn't dare cuss in front of a church. They had a level of respect. These youngsters don't care.
I have something on that same point. On the point of black people not caring about black people, and like DC said earlier, I feel like it's even worse because we support our gays even less. We have the highest rate of kicking out our own more than everybody. Like, I know someone who still won't accept that their family member is gay. I have a friend out in Texas who cannot tell anyone in his family that he's gay, or he will be on the street and his family will beat him. No, he's white, but it shouldn't matter.
Because when we're talking about Black Lives Matter.
Yes, I understand, but like,
I mean, it does though.
It does. The thing is, even at that situation, even at the end of it, I know more white families who would, before kicking their kid out, at least try to conversion camp them. It might be a toxic and a bad way of carrying it, but they're not kicking out their child on the street. And a lot more, even if they are, there's a lot more of us black people that are doing it to our own kids. We are already bottom tier of society. Why do adults treat their kids like they're even lower? Why does there need to be such a hierarchy that I am better than you? I understand that there was no...
It's that caste system.
Exactly. But it shouldn't be that. Going back to what B said, it shouldn't be a big deal. It should be, even if you have to fake it. I did that my whole life for my little sister. I made sure that 90% of the time it was candy, rainbows, we walking through the ghetto, she's scared of whatever happening. Let's tell a story. And the story is fun, and there's ice cream and glitter. Listen, you gotta be able to go, is what I'm showing someone else. Like, I can talk to her more now than I could when she was younger. I still talk to her and gave her, like, just little life lessons as I was learning them to help her feel better. And honestly, I'm not going to take any of the credit. She has grown and developed into a beautiful person. And I'm just glad that I could support her being herself. And that's more what we need to see in the black community. It should be natural to, instead of being like, oh, my child's doing better than me, I'm so glad my child is accomplishing even more and beyond. I am so glad that they are making us better as a family. It's so much resentment over someone else succeeding instead of support for our black people, for our people of color. Like, I used to be guilty of it too. They didn't have it as much in there, but there are the Hispanic people and the Asian people that get thrown to the wayside in their struggles. People matter. When you struggle and when you've lived that life, that's just something that you need to know. It's something you need to, like, be told, because no one's gonna tell you if you're not looking for the positive information. I'm glad there's more internet chats, and I did have a little bit of what you're talking about. Like, I've seen gangsters on the street when I was little be like, hey, come on, that's a kid. Or, you know, that's the old lady's house. She be having the kids up there. Come on, cross the street at least. You know, like, there was this culture of yes, we may be doing something bad, but that's none of that child's business, you know? We might not be doing nothing bad at all. We might just be standing there, you know? You shouldn't curse in front of kids. You're just trying your best to, you know, live your life and not in, you know, like, I feel like childhoods aren't protected for the black youth, and that needs to be protected more. And I do feel like, yes, around the time we're going to middle school and high school, it should be a natural thing. Like, whoa, there's stuff outside my bubble my family didn't tell me. I don't feel like kids should just know everything by the time they're in high school. They should have things gradually, like, explained to them in a way they can understand. But
I think that happens, but I think that actually has to happen with it has to be on purpose.
Right.
Like
right.
we as a community have to purposefully have an idea of what it is that we want our youth to know, what it is we want our children to know, and what we want ourselves to know, and our other community members to know, what we want our friends to know, right?
Right.
Black, white, individual, whatever the hell people decide to call themselves. We have to, as a community, make a decision, and a conscious decision of what we want to, of the life that we want our youth and our children to experience. Like, we get to decide that, right? And though we may not have had the opportunity to decide what our childhood was like, right? I couldn't decide what my childhood was like.
No.
It just was, right? And I may not know 100% what my adulthood will be like. I can make decisions that are going to lead me in a direction that I believe will be the best for me. But I get to decide what kind of a life I want those who come underneath me to experience.
But also, too, like, the three of us were raised kind of in the same household. But the three of us have three different experiences of what it was like growing up in the same household.
Absolutely.
And something you said earlier, we have to stop lying to the generation under us. We recycle the lies our parents told us. So a lot of the adultism stuff, yes, discipline is needed, but if we get so far of this line between I'm an adult and I'm always right, and you are a child yet you are inferior, there is a caste system of not feeling like because you're the adult you don't have to apologize to the generation under you.
Yeah, and how do you teach a black child or black person that they matter if you can't even humble yourself enough to apologize?
Yeah.
There you go.
So in that case, you don't matter even to the people that you're supposed to matter.
Right.
It's taught.
It's taught.
It's taught. Which is why we only get upset when people harm us outside of our own group. Because oftentimes, and I like I said, once again, I can only speak for me, but I know that a lot of people in my community, still can't speak for everyone, we're so used to being hurt by people in our community that we are only outraged when someone that's not from within our community hurt or harm us.
And that's because we could do it to us.
It's like
it's like family.
Yeah.
We could do it, but don't you dare do it. But it's still toxic because we shouldn't even do it. It takes unlearning bad behavior.
There's something I heard that I believe is so true, but it would outrage most of the black community. If you can't discipline your child without hitting your child, you're not a good parent. You should be able to talk to your child about what's going on and give them discipline without needing to hit them. Why is it necessary that you hit the child to teach them the lesson?
Because sometimes it's only fear that can do the job.
But
I completely let me tell you guys, right? Because I am a talker. I believe that everyone has the ability to understand.
Yes.
Right? You have the ability to understand. This is what's right. this is what's wrong. Okay? These are the consequences if you do what's wrong. Here are the benefits if you do what's right. You should do what's right. Right? So that's no problem. Even having children who understand that is no problem. Right? Having children who understand that and still continue to do what's wrong, and the consequence,
you are making a choice.
Right. No.
And your choices has either a consequence or a reward.
Right. But I didn't say, again, there's a difference between discipline and just hitting a child. There is a reprimand for an action that you already set. Then there is hitting a child with a shoe, an extension cord, a branch.
That's extending. That's extending like what you said. You said without hitting, right? Why do you think it is so effective when a child touches a stove that they don't do it again?
Because it's hot and it hurts.
Just like a belt.
Yes.
Or my hand.
Again.
However, we know those children who get whooped and still do the stuff.
Right.
So does that form of...
Not for that particular child. But for some it does.
To argue for those children who would do it anyway, a whooping won't stop them. They'll just be more sneaky about it.
It just depends on the child, right?
I can see how that can bring trauma to a child, you know. To speak from a young adult and teen perspective, it seemed like you beaten me when you don't explain why are you doing this to
See, and I feel like there's a lot more. I've seen a lot. Okay, there was a study done where they're like explained it to kids. They explained it to kids, right? And then they gave them like lesser beatings versus just hitting a child because they told them not to, right? There was the kids who were explained to and reprimanded the first time rarely went on to a second, if even a third time. When the ones who were just hit, they just kept doing it and they just got sneakier at it.
So I would say, just to bring this back around to Black Lives Matter.
Right. Yes. We just tend
well, no, because it's more common in the Black community. That's my whole point.
Here's what
but that don't have anything to do with Black Lives Matter.
I believe that it does. I believe it has something to do with Black Lives Matter because we learned that Black lives don't matter from somewhere.
Right.
Now we definitely we've gone into how punishing, I guess, physically punishing a person or child or whoever can have negative attributes associated with it.
It's the fear mindset they grow up with. It's what.
And here's what I will say about that, right? If you have a bad person, that person is a bad person. If you have a bad parent, that person is a bad parent, right? If someone chooses to pop their kid on the hand when they're headed towards an electrical socket, or they choose to allow their kid to put their finger in the socket, lessons are learned hard, right? Or you can be a person from somewhere who can actually afford to get the covers and put it in the freaking socket. Or you can have friends that you can ask and they can get them for you so you can put them in the socket. Then you don't ever have to worry about having to pop your child or your kid getting electrocuted because you have the resources to put preventative measures in place, right, guys? Right. And that's what we should be thinking about and talking about when we talk about the Black community, when we talk about Black Lives Matter, is what resources do we have in place that can create preventative measures. We cannot prevent our murders by people who are supposed to protect us.
Right.
We can't do that. Do you know why we can't do that? Because we aren't those people. Right. It's just like when talk about me. I like music, right? I write songs sometimes I record them, and sometimes they come out nicely, and sometimes they're trash.
They're all fire. She's lying.
So, but I cannot sit in a place when we're talking about music and talk about why it's important to look at people as great MCs if they're great MCs, opposed to looking at she's a great female MC. That's not my place. I'm not the one doing it. I need the penises to have that conversation, right? So when we start talking about Black Lives Matter, it's not even our motherfucking place to have this conversation with those ignorant assholes. It's the people who look like them who also have to deal with those ignorant assholes that should be having that conversation. The conversation that we should be having as Black Lives, as when we believe that Black Lives Matter, is how do we keep the black dollar in the black community? How do we create those overarching resources that are going to be impactful to our community as a whole?
We need which brings me to my next point. What do you see is the solution, if there is one? So, a lot of people are talking. We are talking on a lot of good stuff, right? But when we talk problems, right? There's a whole lot of problems. If we list them, trust me. Oh, we gonna get into family dysfunction.
It might take as long as it can take cook to happen to explain. You know,
we gonna get into family dysfunction. We gonna get into molestation, rape, and the like. What is the solution as you see?
The solution, I feel like, has to do more with, like V said, we need those chain links who are not us struggling. We need someone to be the rock and to throw the rope down so we can climb up.
I can agree with you 100%.
Right. The Black Panthers aren't accepting like people outside of the black community right now, and I feel so sad about that because those are our hooks, those are our anchors. Why are we rejecting the hands we should be clasping to show that we have some sort of traction? Because black people talking about it obviously hasn't worked. We need faces familiar to them so they can relate.
I'm gonna say that I agree. I feel like y'all listen, when it comes to building the community and building a place in a position of Black Lives Matter, that means that all Black lives must matter, period, point blank. We must all come together and say that all Black lives matter. That's Black straight lives, Black women lives, Black men lives, Black trans lives. Honestly, at this point in the game, yes, we have, and this is synonymous with having to explain the difference between Black Lives Matter and all lives matter. But what I would say is, I'm at this point there is such a strong level of support that comes from Black women for all Black people, and there's a divide when it becomes Black women who need that same support from the rest of the Black people. And so one of the things that I really have to emphasize is that all Black lives must matter, period, point blank, hands down. I have never seen the exact same amount of outrage from Black men that come when a Black woman is the one who was murdered unjustly. This is as a collective. This is when we're kept talking about numbers. This isn't talking about your one homeboy who's down for the cause no matter what. And he like, yeah, I'm a motherfucking ally to everybody. Black lives matter, period. Black trans lives, all Black lives matter. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about the people who pick and choose. The people who choose that only Black Christian lives matter or Black heterosexual lives matter. That's gotta go. So for me, in order for us to all come together, in order there to be a major impact in the Black community, we must first realize and take the first step to understand that all Black lives matter. And after we make that agreement, then we can can sit down and come up with some that was my clock telling me out. My 2 minutes is up. But after we all realize that Black Lives Matter and all Black Lives Matter, then we can sit down and we can come up with an agreement of how do we want to move forward with that information.
Right.
Man, I've been trying to get a point of view, but I don't want to overtalk the ladies, and I really value every woman that's sitting here right now, because they've been like a rock to me in my life personally. And I feel like I speak for myself because I can't speak for all men, because I don't know how all men think. I only know how this man right here thinks. And I feel like Black men need to support our Black women, our queens, period. Women as a whole. I just don't see it in other races. You see a lot of people support their women and stuff like that, and some that don't. You know, it's this mentality with men as a whole where we're fighting amongst each other from different race perspective, instead of we look at our seeds, look at our offsprings, and realize we want to make a better community for them too, because that's who's going to carry our name. And as a man, that's all Black men, should I say, we want our name to carry out strong. And it's just, no matter who you are, it should matter to you. But if you don't have a voice to say I matter, then I have a whole lot of questions to say, why is it so much hatred? Why is it towards me for thinking the way I do, walking the way I do, looking the way you do, whether you're skinny, big, all shapes and sizes? You are beautiful, Black people, and know it. From your head down to your toes, you are beautiful. Just all of us Black people, and our men need to step it up, and we need to be the protectors and leaders of the world.
That's Black women.
Final thoughts from me. I'm going to say that the solution I see is more of the Black Panthers approach. We need to not only educate ourselves and the next generation, and I'm not talking about in no school, but pick up a book. You can learn to be better. You can learn to do better. You have to make that choice. Now, is it going to be hard? Absolutely. Is it going to be easy? By no means. Because nothing worth it ever is. Because check this out. Waiting on them that created the laws when we weren't even considered human so think about that. Those that created the laws, when they created them, we weren't even considered human.
Facts.
We were considered property. So those laws actually did not apply to us. Yes, we're human and we've always been human, but waiting around for them to say our lives matter, they showed you our lives didn't matter to them when they took us from our homeland. They showed us our lives didn't matter. So, in my opinion, we, as our own community, have to unlearn the systematic stuff and relearn a higher level of understanding and thinking for ourselves and our community. We have to take it back. We got to take it back old school for the next generation. And so that's all our time for the Night Perspective today. I would like to thank the panel today for our discussion. The Nye Perspective is a part of the Uniquely Nye podcast. You can catch the Nye Perspective every Tuesday night on all streaming platforms. You can contact me on social media at Uniquely Nye Podcast, or visit the website at www.uniquelynye.podcast. If you want to contact Princess Nettles, you can hit her up on social media at Princess Nettles. B. Yashay, give them your, if you want folks to follow you.
Oh yeah, at B. Yashay Instagram, find me at B. Yashay on YouTube. Or you can find me on, guys, I'm just trying to learn how to do the Twitter tweet thing, you know what I'm saying? But that's gonna be
I'm not hip.
That's gonna be reverse, so Yashay_B.
All right, and DC, let them know where to find you at, bro.
Hey, DC Amirio at Instagram. DC Amirio at Instagram. Only out of Instagram, because I don't like people at my Facebook just all up in my DMs like that. Can't be real personal.
Working with those Instagram DMs.
All right, this has been the Nye Perspective. I will see you next week. Peace.